everybody. I'm Karen Hartglass, and you're listening to It's All About Food, my favorite subject. I hope it is yours too. Food has a lot of fun stories. It has some sad stories too, and some difficult stories, but I love all the stories about food because I'm a big fan of food. I know most people are a fan of food because we can't live without food, but we can make smart choices. And that's what I'm all about, making smart choices about food that nourishes our body, that doesn't fill us with things we don't need while we're getting the stuff we do need, food that's prepared with love and care and compassion, food that certainly doesn't have cruelty and torture and suffering mixed in with it, and food that works with the environment, not against the environment. And when you have all those ingredients together and then you put it in a delicious meal, it just makes it so much better. And today we're going to talk about one of my favorite ingredients, tempeh. And to do that, we have a super tempeh expert. Sarah Speare is the CEO and co-founder of Tootie's Tempeh, a worker-owned consumer foods cooperative based in Biddeford, Maine. Prior to Tootie's, she co-founded a pet treat company that had distribution in 10,000 stores and was sold to a large competitor. She has also been the executive director of several social impact nonprofits and served on the boards of arts and civic organizations in Maine and Massachusetts. She has a background in graphic design and is a graduate of Tufts University and the Museum School. Sarah, so great to meet you and have you on It's All About Food.
Thank you. It's nice to meet you. And what a great podcast topic.
Thank you. Thank you. Right? I've been a fan of tempeh for a long time. Not sure if you are familiar with the history of tempeh. I know it comes from Indonesia.
That's right.
I read that the awareness of tempeh in history doesn't date back too far, maybe 17th century, sometime in the mid to late 1800s. That's all right. I know about it.
Yeah, I think it was almost discovered accidentally when someone threw out some beans and it landed in a banana leaf or something like that.
Right.
And somehow bacteria grew that was a friendly bacteria, and it bound the beans together because the banana leaf gave it just the right environment with the Indonesian, combined with the Indonesian humidity and heat, and tempeh was born.
That's great. I love when accidents like that happen. But I want to say, don't do this at home.
No.
You don't want to try and make tempeh in an uncontrolled banana leaf environment.
It's also really hard to make because at around so it takes usually 24 to 30 hours to ferment. And about halfway in, it generates its own heat. And so if you're trying to control the environment, all of a sudden it's out of control. So a lot of people try to do it in their ovens with just using the oven light. And that can work if you know to open the oven door at a certain point to let the cooler air in. It's just it's finicky, and a lot of things can go wrong, and then it doesn't ferment, or it over ferments and overheats, and then it gets, trust.
I get it.
Trust me.
I remember speaking with Seth Tibbett, the founder of Tofurkey, and he was a big tempeh maker.
That's right.
And he gave me the recipe for making do-it-yourself tempeh at home. I posted it on our Responsible Eating and Living website. And I have a chemical engineering background. And just reading the requirements, I thought, unless I have really fancy tools, I don't want to get involved with this.
Yeah, I taught a fermentation class to a group of students, and I used Seth's make your own tempeh at home kit. And it I think one of the 12 students succeeded.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why it's wonderful that we have companies that make tempeh for us, because when you're making a large quantity, you can afford to have the necessary equipment to make it safely and deliciously.
Right.
But things can go wrong there too, or companies may do it in a way that is not ideal, perhaps. And that's where you come in. Now, before we get into the tempeh making, let's just talk about the name of your company. Did I pronounce it correctly?
Yeah, I mean, we'll respond to basically anything. We get Tootsies and we get Tooties, but it's Tooties.
Tootie.
Named after my mother. She called everyone Toots. And
Yeah.
so she became Tootie. It was very common back then. And so
I have an aunt who we call Tootsie.
yeah. I mean, so it's a really like an endearing thing to call someone Toots.
Right.
So she was an early environmentalist follower of Rachel Carson, and she went to town hall meetings and would put up a stink and inspired me in a lot of ways to live a more conscious life around our impact on the planet. And so that inspired this company, and it's in her honor. She's been gone 20 years yesterday.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, here's to Tootie.
Thank you.
Well, I hope she's leading her best next life, wherever that may be, in the great wherever. We just lost John Robbins recently, the author of Diet for a New America in 1987, and a very close friend of mine. I'm choking up.
Yeah.
Give me a minute.
I saw that. Yeah. And Joanna Macy. Yeah.
And yeah, right. She just died. She wrote the foreword to his book.
Yeah.
He said, and he left a big banner in his wife's home that said, "See you in the next great whatever."
Wow.
Anyway. Hi, John. Okay, that got me totally distracted. I shouldn't even have brought that up, but back to tempeh. So you created this company. What is special about, there's so many things special about it, but perhaps you could share a few things, the recipe, the kind of company you created, etc.
Yeah, so I kind of got the bug again to do another food company after the pet treat one. And I really this time wanted it to be an essential food. And being a vegan, I knew it was going to had to be a protein of some sort. And there's a really great tofu maker here in Maine. So I didn't want to do tofu, and I'm gluten-free, so seitan didn't make sense. And I thought about tempeh, and I thought, I like tempeh, but I don't love tempeh. But it is like such an incredible superfood that not enough people know about.
Right.
And maybe there's a way to make it taste better and just improve it in some way. I didn't know how, but I set out to make tempeh and then immediately learned how it was made and was kind of shocked and horrified that I didn't know after eating it for so many years that it's fermented in a single-use plastic bag.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
that's just that alone. I want to stop here. The big companies of tempeh, the few that are out there, make each individual cake in the bag.
That's
where
right.
it
And that
happens.
means it's sitting at a high heat.
Right.
For 24 hours or longer in that single-use plastic bag.
So let's stop again for a moment. I'm sorry.
I know, just absorb that one. Yeah.
Now, plastic, better living through chemistry, right? Plastic has made so many things possible. But of course, we have landfills now filled with so much plastic because it doesn't really degrade at the rate that we would like, but it does degrade at higher temperatures. And there are microparticles, nanoparticles that are all throughout the ocean and in mother's breast milk and who knows where else. And so plastic is not the friend we thought it was. And it's certainly not something we want to use at high temperatures. So those of you who like drinking out of plastic water bottles, and I advise you not to, when you keep it in your car and it gets warm, you don't want to drink that water afterwards because things happen at higher temperatures. And so that was like, my mind was blown. My tempeh has been cooking in plastic before I eat it.
Yeah.
You can continue.
Yeah, so we just didn't want to do that. And then I thought, okay, well, there's our point of differentiation. And I would imagine it's going to taste better too. So, but I've never made tempeh before. And as we discussed earlier, it's really complicated to make. So, and to develop a whole new process on top of that was a challenge. And we took 3 years basically to figure it out. We just kept persevering. We got a lot of grants and had some investors believe in this. So we were able to succeed, but it was not easy. And we made a lot of really bad tempeh along the way.
And what did you do with all that tempeh? Did you
we donated it to like farmers and stuff, but and composted it too. But yeah, it was either, like we were saying before, it was either too sporulated, which is that black, overgrowth basically is what it is. And then, or it didn't ferment at all, or it fermented in some parts, but not in others. It was all like, because you have to have little holes in the plastic bag. If you just took that inner bag and you filled it with water, it would like squirt like a sprinkler, because it has to breathe because of creating its own heat. It has to go somewhere. Otherwise it would kill itself and it wouldn't be tempeh. So, we had to figure out how big are the holes, how many holes, like how far apart are the holes, how do we make, what is it made? Is it a metal? Is it glass? Is it like all those things? And what's the lid made of? And do you have to have holes on the bottom of the pan or on the top? And like it was so many variables that and so many things that could go wrong. But we figured it out, and it's like makes the most incredible tempeh. I wish everyone could see what it looks like when it comes out, because it looks like white velvet. The mushroom, so tempeh, if people don't know, is a fermented food. It's fermented beans. It can be any bean, any legume, like peanuts even. Soy is used because it is grown more commonly, and you can get it in large supplies. And it's fermented with a mushroom culture called Rhizopus oligosporus. There's a couple others that you can use as well, but the pretty much the standard is Rhizopus oligosporus, and it is a mushroom culture. So it's really like this beautiful marriage of a mushroom and a bean, and over 24 hours, you're giving the mushroom the environment to grow. So you need that like heat and humidity and very, very low airflow. And so the mycelium is what binds the beans together. So you're trying to grow the mycelium and bind the beans together, but you want to pull it just in time before it actually starts to want to become a mushroom. And that's the sporulation. But so when it comes out, it looks like white velvet. You're seeing the furry mycelium. It's just so beautiful, and it smells so, it's almost like bread. It smells so, when bread comes out of the oven. So yeah, that's what we do. And we do, after it's fermented, we do put it in one layer of plastic, which is vacuum sealed, because you're trying to get the oxygen out. You are getting all the oxygen out so that you have that shelf life. I would love to someday have like butchers, vegan butcheries, or even a section of a meat butchery that has fresh tempeh that isn't even in the plastic, that's like
Sure.
wrapped in butcher paper, and you can get it like that's been made, the day before. That would be my dream. But in the meantime, we're trying to find a plant-based plastic or a recyclable plastic that can work. But so far, they haven't passed the test. But I
Okay.
know
We'll get
that's
there.
improving. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe an edible plastic.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. We just have to put those ideas out there
Hmm.
and then somehow they come to
Right,
fruition.
right.
So tell me about the company that's unique,
Well,
or maybe not unique, but special.
I mean, their co-ops have been around for a long time. We are a worker-owned co-op. And we did that because, oh my goodness, because of the imbalance of power and wealth in our country.
Because it's the right thing to
and
do.
it's
It's the
just,
right way to conduct business.
yeah. And not enough people know that it is an option. And so when you're starting a business, you have the opportunity to do things differently. And that's what I wanted to try and do. And so we are a worker-owned co-op. And right now we have 3 out of our 5 employees are worker owners. And the other 2 it takes a year to qualify, are working their way to becoming worker owners. And, it just means that all the decision-making power is in the hands of the workers. And when we're profitable, we share in the profits. It's called patronage, and I love that. And yeah, so it's also very open book, transparency. We also have principles as co-ops that every co-op follows. There's 7 principles, and they're really all about taking care of people and the planet and community. Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's really the way things should really be done.
Well, it's very inspiring to hear about you and your company, especially in these times.
Thanks. Hmm.
I always need to breathe a little more than normal these days. Yeah. So just on the subject of tempeh, tofu is a very popular product today in the United States. It wasn't always, but more and more people are learning about it, and it's in more restaurants, and more people just eat it in various ways. There's plenty of recipes out there, and we eat a lot of tofu, and I love it. I've made it here at home. I'm not as anxious about making tofu because it's not a fermented product.
Right.
It's not that difficult to make, but it's also very easy to buy. But tofu has no fiber. Tofu is from the soy juice, the soy milk, and then it's coagulated. And that's what makes tempeh an even better product, because it's the whole bean.
That's right.
So it's more nutritious. And there are some people that believe that soybeans need to be fermented. And we know that that's not true. We can eat the soybean not fermented. It still has great nutritional value, but perhaps it has a little more when it is fermented because it's more digestible when it's fermented. And I imagine that this mycelium adds like extra
Protein.
bonuses,
Yeah.
because we know how nutritious mushrooms are, or fungi is. So those are all bonuses of tempeh. But because of that mold or mycelium, I guess there are nicer ways to say it. It has a flavor all to its own, and I know some people don't like that flavor. Now, I don't know if it's the mycelium or if it's the way it's been manufactured.
Yeah.
I don't know if does
We're
everybody
trying to get to the bottom of that ourselves, actually. Yeah, so like I said, we were trying to make tempeh taste a little better, and I like to say just friendlier. Tofu outsells tempeh like 5 to 10 times, and that's because of that acquired sort of niche taste that I would describe as a bitter aftertaste. and not everybody likes that, and it turns people away. And it is a shame, like you said, tempeh has twice the protein of tofu, along with all that fiber and the benefits of fermentation as a prebiotic. So, yeah, so what happened when we developed this new process using the metal pans is it got rid of the bitter aftertaste. And so it's just a very nutty, umami, delicious, clean taste. And so it's like opening the door for more people to enjoy tempeh. And I love tofu, but I eat just as much tempeh. And I think everyone should be who's relying on, who's relying on this for protein, or anyone who's trying to look for new proteins. It's really your best friend.
Yeah, we've prepared tempeh in many ways. So because it's firm and chewy, you can just slice it right away and throw it in a stir fry. But some people like to marinate it first to give it some flavor. Some people like to boil it in water or a broth beforehand.
Yeah, but you don't need to. So the people that do that are trying to get rid of the bitterness.
And you don't need to do that with yours.
You don't need to do that with ours.
There you go. So. And we've made a more high-end dish when we're having company and we want to impress. We'll make a tempeh that's marinated and then wrapped in rice paper and then breaded with some kind of nutty, seedy seasoning. Wow. And
I want that recipe.
Yeah, it's really good. It's like I don't know, a fried chicken or something, but it has, many layers of flavor and textures, and it's really yummy. And there's nothing bad about it. It's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we love tempeh. I missed this, but you recently had a social event at a friend of mine's home, Marisa Miller-Wolfson, the creator of the documentary Vegucated and cookbooks, and she now makes these gorgeous cakes.
Oh, I know.
And I was going to go, and then something came up and I couldn't go. Can you tell me what happened and what you tasted at this event that I missed?
Yeah, it was really it was such a lovely event. And I only did appetizers for that one. And I did mini tempeh Reubens, which is a really
the best.
That's how I got introduced to tempeh many, 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 many years ago. It's just kind of a classic, and it's also a good way to show how it takes on, different flavors, because you're getting the caraway from the rye, you're getting the sauerkraut, and you're getting the dressing from the rye, it's just yummy.
It's yummy, yeah.
And so I just make them in these little mini, like I put a 1-inch square of the bread, a little of the dressing, then some sauerkraut, and then I have like a 1/2-inch cube of the tempeh sauteed in avocado oil. I put that on top, and then just one more little dab of the Russian dressing on top, just for looks, really.
Sure.
And with this, you just put the whole thing in your mouth. They're so good.
I'm thinking back to my first tempeh Reubens when I became vegan, like at Dharma's in Santa Cruz, which used to be Mick Dharma's in the old days. Staff of Life, which is a market. I'm in New York, but I lived in California, and it's a market that still exists. It used to be vegetarian, but then they had to make the ends meet, and they sell meat now. But they used to have an area where they made food, and they made a great tempeh Reuben. I'm trying to think of my best tempeh Reuben experiences. Do you remember your first tempeh Reuben?
I think mine was in Northampton, Mass. It was a cafe. It's no longer there. I can't remember the name, but yeah. There's a bunch of places here in Maine that are now using our tempeh for Reubens and things. So
nice.
It's also great in a BLT. Like you said, you can slice it really thin and marinate it in all the sort of bacony, maple syrup and tamari and smoke flavoring and a little oil, whatever you can, and then bake it or pan fry it and make it delicious tempeh. I mean, bacon. Yeah. So, and then I did a Thai peanut sauce that I just with sesame seeds and a little cilantro, and again on little toothpicks. That was delicious. And then we have a curry seasoned tempeh, which is so delicious because we ferment with the curry seasonings overnight with the beans. And so it
Oh, you can
becomes,
do that. Ooh.
yeah, it becomes like an infusion of curry. And I put a little mango chutney on top of that. And that's really all that one needs. It's just so good.
So you can sell it that way?
We sell
Seasoned?
it. Yep, it's pre-seasoned. They should probably have it at that same store where you bought the tempeh. They're usually right next to each other. And it just, yeah, it'll curryize anything, and it makes a great sandwich. Like last night I had it in, it was like time to clean out the kitchen. I'd been away for a while, and whatever was still alive in my refrigerator. So it was like cabbage and zucchini and onion and carrot and whatever else. And I just sauteed it separately, and then I threw it in at the end. And then I made like a yogurt. I put some of the chutney in, a little bit of lime, some cumin and coriander, and just made a little, like, tzatziki type sauce, and just threw it on top. And it was
So good.
so good. Yeah.
So good. You can grate tempeh and make like a chorizo or a
That's right. There's a
chop
food
meat or something.
truck that's making chorizo out of our tempeh. Yeah. It's called Fancy Plants. I just love their name.
Right, Fancy Plants. There's one in Chicago. Is that the same Fancy Plants?
No, it's up in Ellsworth, Maine, of all places, which is
Okay.
very touristy right now with all the tourists going to Acadia National Park. Yeah, no, so we every Tuesday on our social media is Tempeh Tuesday, and it's a different recipe every week. And we've been really playing around. We've been making a lot of desserts.
That was my next question.
Yeah. So banana bread was yesterday's. We've done blueberry crumble and strawberry rhubarb crumble. We've made brownies.
How does that work in dessert recipes?
You just use it. You can cut back on the flour. You can, you know how you can make brownies with black beans or avocado? It's just another, texture grain. It is a grain basically. So yeah, we've just been playing around with that. You just adjust recipes accordingly.
Okay, so right now you're just making soy tempeh. You don't mix it with other grains or make other bean tempehs.
No, I mean, another thing about our company is we're very values driven, and one of our values is to support local organic farmers. And so soybeans grow really, really well in Maine and northern Maine. And yeah, Maine is known for its beans, actually. Beans grow really well. So we have a farmer up in Aroostook County, and we get our beans there. And so they don't, like other types of black beans and chickpeas and lentils, they don't grow well in Maine that are sometimes made into tempeh. But we are looking at a soy-free. So we could do like buckwheat, sunflower seeds, and millet, and split peas, field peas. We're playing around with that, but it's an allergy. If you have an allergen and you're adding other allergens, it's just like a food safety thing. You have to actually have everything separated.
Yeah.
And it's just like duplicating everything you already have. So we just found that out. It's like, oh dear, maybe we'll keep going with the soy until we figure that one out. But
yeah, it's just more investment. Cha-ching,
exactly.
cha-ching, cha-ching.
Yeah.
And probably with each ingredient, there will be subtle differences in the process that you'll have to accommodate for, and that'll take some time and research and money.
But anyway, and another one of our values is educating people, especially because tempeh is not very well known. And I love doing samplings. We do them all over the place because once people try our tempeh, they're become very loyal customers because ask Seth Tibbet because he's like our #1 fan. He's been making tempeh for like 45 years, I think. And he said ours is the best tempeh he's ever had. And that
Wow.
it's a game changer for the industry because of getting rid of the bitter aftertaste and not using the plastics. So, anyway, when people try it, they're like, oh, I really like this. I didn't think I would, or I never liked tempeh before, but now I do. How do I cook with it? And so, I mean, so we just provide hundreds of recipes. We're coming out with a cookbook that's going to be
Great.
free, a digital cookbook. And yeah, it's the joy of
We've prepared
sharing.
tempeh many times for guests, and I would say 99.99999% of the time, everybody's loved it. But I remember making tempeh maybe 20 years ago. It was a long time ago. I've probably gotten better at making it, but I made a dish for a friend of mine and he was just, I can't eat this. It
That's
was funny the
funny.
way he reacted. But it could be just something in his
Mhm.
makeup that something didn't agree with him. You know, like some people can't eat cilantro. Who
Right,
knows?
right.
But other than that, everybody loves tempeh.
Mhm.
They don't always remember how to say it. Some say tempeh or
Oh, I hear
whatever.
everything. I hear tempura,
Oh,
tempeh,
tempura.
tem.
I don't fry food anymore, speaking of tempura, but I
Yeah.
remember my cousin who's a big macrobiotic person and he lives up in Massachusetts. He made us a meal with fried tempeh. It was amazing. It was
Yeah, I mean,
so,
that's the
so
traditional
good.
Indonesian way, the sambal. I mean, it's just yeah, it's really good. One of my favorite recipes that we have is fish sticks, believe it or not. And it, it tastes so much like the texture, the oceany flavor is all in there. And it's pan fried and breaded. So it's not the healthiest thing, but fish sticks aren't the healthiest, anything that's breaded and fried is not the
Mm-hmm.
healthiest thing. But it's just marinated in with nori and mirin and rice
Mm.
vinegar and a little miso and maybe a bit of tamari and it just takes on that oceany flavor and it's just so delicious.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
giving me ideas now, aside from making me hungry. But I had mentioned before we got started that we make a dish, and I believe it's on our Responsible Eating and Living website. I'll have to check, but it's not fried, but it tastes fried.
Oh,
So
there you go.
we take the tempeh, we marinate it, we wrap it in a rice paper, and then bread it. I have a variety of breadings that are breadless, that are made from seeds
Oh,
and
nice.
seasonings, maybe a little nutritional yeast, and you can bread it. Sometimes you could make a dredging mixture like with tahini or something, which
Yeah.
makes it richer, and
Yeah.
that you don't need that, but you can, and then bread it and then bake it,
Yeah.
and it's amazing. And now I'm thinking maybe if I add an
Yeah.
extra
If you
layer of
marinate,
nori in there.
yes, you could. That would make just the recipe you described. I would love to share that for Tempeh Tuesday if you are
Okay, I'm doing
interested.
it. All right. I want to try your tempeh, and I have never.
Nice.
So we were dialoguing before the show, and you told me that 3 stores near me were asking to be supplied with it, and one of my local stores got it, and I was able to buy it. So I got the traditional
Nice.
Tootie's tempeh, and this is made with just organic soybeans, organic vinegar, and starter culture. I love when there are simple ingredients that I understand. Now, I also thought, just for fun, that I might compare it with another tempeh that I always buy from Trader Joe's,
Nice.
which is not all soy. It has brown rice and barley and millet in it. And since it has barley, that makes it not gluten-free. And it has lactic acid. So I suppose that's like your
It
version of
replaces
vinegar.
vinegar. Yeah.
Mhm. And is there a reason why you use vinegar and not lactic acid? Just,
Yeah. Me too.
is there a reason it's your proprietary reason or some reason you use vinegar?
I think, I mean, It's just what we first tried and it worked and we've just stuck with it. I mean, I know other tempeh makers, it's goes right down the middle. Half of them use it, half of them use vinegar, half of them use lactic.
Okay, well, while we're chatting here, I am opening up my 2 packages of tempeh because I want to taste them side by side.
Nice.
Now,
Yeah, I don't
tempeh
eat
is
it raw.
normally, yeah,
Yeah.
tempeh is normally cooked. And you can eat it raw, but obviously most people prefer to cook it. And I have a very interesting palate. I think it's very subtle. I love the subtle flavors of very natural and normally bland foods. As my listeners know, for the last year, I've been eating a salt, oil, and sugar-free
Mhm.
diet. I'm opening the package now.
There it
Isn't
is.
this beautiful?
It is because we cut it, you know, it doesn't have those rounded, like you can tell it's been in the other ones have been in a plastic. Well,
Well,
they're in a
some
plastic
tempehs
bag.
that I get from other makers sometime are riddled with a gray or darker color. Is that a problem?
That's the sporulation. That's
Yeah, so that's not so good.
they kept it in for too long. Yeah.
Wow.
Or some air got in that wasn't supposed to get in there. That's what air does as well.
Okay, I'm just gonna try the other brand first.
Okay.
And I'm chewing.
Looks
It's nice.
like you cut the end off. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I know that it's not a very strong flavor, but now I'm gonna try Tootie's tempeh.
Hmm.
Maybe I should have a palate cleanser. Drum roll. Mmm. Okay. There's more flavor.
Nice.
And it's the texture is a little different. Like, I don't know, the beans are smaller, or it just seems like more of a uniformity
Hmm.
than the other one. There's something I'm noticing. I'm loving it though.
Thank you.
I mean, people don't normally eat this raw, and I could just eat this all day. But I don't. There's no bitterness.
Hmm.
That's absolutely true. And
I would say by adding the grains, what they're doing is trying to get rid of the bitterness too, because they're using, yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
okay, I'm totally digging this.
Thank you.
I'm sold. Now, I have to admit, you're a small company, and there's always the issue of supply and demand,
Hmm.
and that affects your price.
Yes, we are more expensive. We won't be once we get up to a certain volume.
Mm-hmm.
And
But
you
you
know,
get what you pay for.
but also, I mean, yeah, you're getting our tempeh is a premium tempeh. There never was a premium tempeh on the market before.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everyone deserves to have tempeh that's has higher quality. Like we don't have the sporulation. We are nice and clean, and we don't have the bitterness. We're made more sustainably, and that means something to a lot of people. So
And
yeah,
it's not cooked in plastic.
and it's not fermented in plastic. Exactly. So we've already saved over 75,000 plastic bags from landfills just in our 2.5 years. So
Mm-hmm.
that will just keep getting better.
So by buying, I'm plugging your product now because I'm a I'm I'm a believer.
Thank you.
But by buying this product, you're not only getting a premium tempeh, which has not been fermented in plastic, which for me is a big issue. And it's delicious, nutritious, and the company is all the things that we believe in. You're supporting more than just something you put in your mouth, which in today's world, we have to be a community. We have to support people doing the right thing, because more and more the people in charge are doing the wrong thing. and it's dangerous.
Yeah, we're trying to be a model, especially for worker owned, and also just being more intentional in the way you make your choices of like, how much plastic do we have to use? Like, we source as much as we can locally. Our pans are made right in the same town where we are. Like all of that, the using the farmers, we've helped our farmers get grants so that they can expand, and the potato farmers in Maine can grow soybeans as a cover crop, which our farmer can process so that we can use them. Like it's all interconnected. And then our plan for becoming a national brand, because we feel like everyone deserves the premium tempeh that tastes better and doesn't ferment in plastic, instead of like having all this massive distribution going from one location, we thought, well, how do you have our values expand nationally, and so that there's local everywhere? And we thought, okay, what we'll do is we'll have regional co-op production facilities around the country. Each one will source from their local farmers, so that wherever Tootie's is purchased, the consumer is supporting their local farmers, workers, and communities. And then the really fun thing is that it can be whatever beans grow well in that region. So like in the Southwest, it could be black bean tempeh. In parts of California, lentil or chickpea, all of that. So, yeah, it's kind of the way things used to be when, I know in Maine, we have train tracks that used to go to all the farms and supply the B&M baked bean factory with all the beans. And that happened all over the country. So we're kind of going back to that model of
Well, what it's doing, it's brilliant, but we can use the best of everything. So we can use the best of technology today and capitalize on that. I hate the word capital. But also we know that it's better to be local, to support communities and support the local businesses. And then there's less greenhouse gases that
That's
are
right.
affected from transportation and distribution. So that's a win-win. I think that's beautiful. When I was watching a YouTube video of your process on the internet, when I was finished, it went to another local tempeh maker on the West Coast.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, right. And so I watched that. It was a little different, but it looked like they also made in trays and not in individual packages. I'm not really sure, but I didn't know if you knew about, other small tempeh makers. And
is it Sid's tempeh?
It was Herbs.
Yeah. Oh, Herbs.
There's
okay.
Sid's and Herbs and Tooties.
That's funny. I love it.
Yeah. But who knows, maybe you could all join together and.
Well, that's the idea, is when we do this regional, if there's already a tempeh maker who really wants to, become part of the bigger mission, because we'd love the whole industry to go plastics free. And once we do these regional locations, we're gonna like open source everything.
I love the idea of buying it in a vegan butcher store.
Yeah, isn't that fun?
And you bring it home wrapped in paper. Where can we find it, this wonderful product? I just discovered that it's recently coming to my stores locally, which is awesome.
Yeah, so we're in co-ops all across New England, and now we're in natural food stores, and we're in one grocery chain called Hannaford's up in Maine. But we're now in the New York City, in New Jersey, and Long Island and Connecticut area. So we have really good distribution, and it's just a matter of, if you don't see it, we can get it to you. So you can ask for it.
Which is what I did.
Yay.
But apparently somebody else knew about it before I asked about it, because your distributor was already working on my neighborhood.
which is great. I
Yeah.
was so happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's only been a few months that we've been expanding into that area, and we're hoping to get into Whole Foods by next spring. It's a long process.
Sure.
And we're also in restaurants, and they don't typically say Tootie's Tempeh, they just say, Tempeh, but we're in a lot especially the Boston area, but we're expanding that way too in the fall in the New York area. So you can ask
Well, I
for it at
imagine for a
restaurants.
for a
Yeah.
chef who wants to make something delicious, they're going to want to use the premium product.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
Tell that to 11 Madison.
Oh yeah.
I've been trying to get them to use our tempeh.
You'd think they would want to. Did they use any tempeh? I
I
haven't
think-
looked at their menus.
I don't know. I haven't. They changed their menu. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I have not eaten at 11 Madison. I've toyed with the idea. And now that I do this SOS free thing, it doesn't make sense to spend $300-400 on an
Well,
event.
you should have maybe their executive chef or someone on the podcast.
Yeah, there you go. And
And
maybe they
then-
do an SOS free night.
And then you get a night, maybe.
And they're gonna what?
And then
That's insane.
you'll need to bring a guest, and I'm happy to go
Yeah,
with
okay, there we go. We're working on this.
you.
And just talking about 11 Madison just for a moment, because I feel like it. There have been people that have been really off put and offended that a restaurant would charge so much for an event like this. And I understand that, we live in a world where many people are starving and more people have food insecurity more than ever. But I also see it as art.
Mm-hmm.
People will pay a lot of money to see a show. And although I wish the prices were a little more equitable for people, especially on Broadway, it is what it is. But I see it as art, and the event is more than just the food. And so that's how I kind
That's
of
lovely. I think
justify it.
they would agree with you. I think they've really
It's an experience.
top chef is looking at it that way as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so nice.
And we can all learn from that.
Well, and then there's the Lost Kitchen in Maine, about that one where you have to send a postcard to get selected to come
Ooh.
there to eat.
No.
And she has a show on one of the streaming shows that maybe it's called The Lost Kitchen. I should know more, but
I'm gonna look that up.
It costs exorbitant amounts of money if you do get selected to go. And it's only one menu. Everyone eats the same thing because it's different every single night. And it's all fresh,
So
local.
can some people go there and just pay a lot of money rather than submit a postcard?
No, you only can go if you get your
Wow.
postcard picked. And I don't know if they curate the postcards too to pick who they want to have come.
Sure.
I don't know the system, but it's an experience and it is art. I agree.
And I support art, period.
I wish she would do a vegan one, but she's not quite there yet.
Okay. But
she's not even
it's
close to
out
being
there.
there.
They'll get there. They'll get
Yeah.
there. Somehow we'll get there. We just have a few more minutes left. And can we just talk a little bit more about you, who Sarah is?
Okay.
What's your vegan journey and what you love to do?
I have a fun vegan journey. It started with my 5-year-old son, who became a vegetarian when he discovered that the animals he loved, when he saw a whole cut chicken in the grocery store,
Mhm.
and he had just been at a barn playing with chickens and goats, and he looked at me with the saddest eyes and said, "We eat chickens?"
Yeah, connecting the dots.
He just cried and cried. And I said, "Oh, no, you don't have to. You can become what's called a vegetarian." And he just proclaimed, "I am a vegetarian." And
Wow.
I had been leaning that way for a long time and didn't have the courage. So we did it together. And then we both became vegan when we became aware of, the whole story. And So, and then I worked at the Institute for Humane Education,
Oh, there we
which
go.
is, I was their executive director for 8 years, I think, and learned about the interconnectedness between, human rights and animal rights and social justice and environmental sustainability. And so we were trying to teach people how to solve problems in the world in ways that do the most good and least harm to people, animals, and the planet. And they were
Yes.
that's called being a solutionary.
Yes.
And then I decided I wanted to be a solutionary. And that's how Tooties was born.
Oh, I didn't know that connection.
Yeah, Zoe Weil is amazing. She's
So
there.
while it's amazing.
Yeah.
And her book, The Solutionary Way, just that's the roadmap that we all
It
need.
is.
It's
Yeah.
there. Okay. We're living in a nightmare right now. We are going in totally the wrong direction for humanity, not just the United States. And Zoe Weil's book is the way. There are
I
religious
agree.
people that talk about the way.
Yeah.
I'm putting air quotes up here. That's not the right book. It's Zoe Weil's book, The Solutionary Way. That's the way. And that's the way where we empower and inspire children to solve the next generation's problems, knowing that they can. It's just a perfect piece. So of course,
Yeah, so that's where
we're
it
a
came
part
from.
of that. That makes total sense.
Yeah. And they're in Maine too. But yeah,
And what too?
they're in Maine, that they're located in Maine.
Right. You know what? I'm starting to think I got to get to Maine.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah,
the weather? I'm
then,
just curious. What's the weather like in Maine? Is it livable in Maine?
well, unfortunately, because of climate change, we barely have winters here in southern Maine. Don't get
Okay.
much snow at all. And I mean, I grew up in the Boston area. They got more snow when I was a kid there than we were getting here in Maine, but and it's getting hotter in the summer. So
So
yeah,
it's nice.
it's a good
Sounds like
place
it's
to
nice.
escape to. Yeah, I'm glad I'm here.
Right. Okay. You've just planted a seed for me about Maine. I
Yeah,
got to
well,
get
when you
there.
come, yeah,
Do you do tours?
we definitely do. I'm doing a tour tomorrow for the whole
Oh,
Sodexo team here in Maine. Yeah, we do a lot. It's fun. I mean, it's like magic seeing how tempeh is made. Yeah, and we're in a
okay.
wonderful old mill in Biddeford that's been converted, and our building is all food producers pretty much. It's a nice community. Biddeford's a up and coming foodie town. So yeah, we're
All right. I may be running up there very, very soon. I'm excited
nice.
about Maine. I'm excited about Tootie's Tempeh. As I mentioned, my
Yeah,
aunt's nickname was Tootsie, so it's easy for me
that's
to say
cute.
Tootsie instead of Tooties, but I think it all comes from the same place. Tooties, there, I did it again. ToutiesTempeh.com. I will include lots of links about everything we've talked about today in the podcast post. But Sarah Speare, thank you for you. You've
Thank
done
you.
such incredible things for people and the planet. And
Thank
Tempeh.
you.
Making
Really
Tempeh
great
even
to
better
meet
than it
you.
is. Yeah,
Thanks.
I'm very excited about
And
this.
send me that wonderful recipe.
Oh, I'm working on it right
Okay.
now.
Okay.
Okay,
Take
thank you so
care.
much for joining
Thank
me.
you.
Bye-bye. I've been looking through the collection of recipes we have at Responsible Eating and Living to see what we can offer with regard to tempeh recipes, and I've linked 3 to the podcast page for this particular program. We have a Choucroute Garnie. It's one of my favorite recipes that I learned how to make when I lived in France. It's one of these easy, yummy stews that has sauerkraut, other vegetables, and the French typically add different kinds of meats depending on what region they're from. But I've always added things like tofu and tempeh and seitan. Now, I've mentioned I'm on a salt, oil, and sugar-free diet, so Sauerkraut does have a bit of salt in it, so this is not an SOS-free recipe, but it is quite yummy. And then I'm also offering our tasty Tempeh Taco Tuesday meat. Tempeh is great to grate. I'm taking a pause there. I did an alliteration, and then I did a pun. Okay, tasty Tempeh Taco Tuesday meat is great to grate. It has a nice firm texture, and you can grab a hold of it and rub it against a grater, and it shreds really nicely. And then you can add some of your favorite spices and cook it up, and it's like a chopped meat. Only better. Cruelty-free, great nutrition, good to the environment, compassionate, and tasty. And then the other is Snowy Joe's. I'm thinking about these recipes in a hot apartment because it's hot. And these are maybe heavier recipes for the fall and winter, so you can keep them on hand for when you're ready to make foods like these. But I eat tempeh all year long, and I'm someone who can eat it raw, although most people prefer to cook it. I eat beans every day, and that's a wide variety of beans, lentils and split peas, legumes, let's call them legumes. Black beans, pinto beans, red beans, yellow beans. There are so many different varieties of beans, and soybeans. And what I like to do, I've mentioned this before, I do two things once a week. I soak some beans and cook them so that I have them all week long to put in different dishes. And then I'll also make a soup, typically with lentils or split peas. I just cut up a mess of carrots and celery and onions, and I have soaked split peas and lentils. Some people say you don't have to soak lentils. I just find it better when I do. Less gas, etc. So I have these two bean dishes to access all week long. The soup and whatever I do with the bean or legume that I've prepared for the week. But if I run out, or I just want to change, we always have packages of tempeh and tofu ready to go. And that's where tempeh comes in really handy, because I can keep it in the refrigerator. And if I run out of beans, I don't feel like soaking anything, and I don't want to get the Instant Pot out, tempeh is right there to nourish me. It's awesome. I was very excited to learn about Sarah Speare and her company, Tootie's Tempeh. And I am also very happy that my local favorite organic store now stocks it, because that's where I'm getting it. I hope you'll try it. Let me know. You've been listening to It's All About Food. I'm your host, Karen Hartglass. Thanks for joining me today. I always look forward to hearing from you. My email is info@realmeals.org. You can send me a comment or questions right here, info@realmeals.org. Thank you so much for joining me. Everybody have a delicious week.